So the next unit that is worth taking a look at is actually going to be the Death Company Dreadnought. He's super tough. I think I'm impressed with him. If we come here and look at his stats, we can actually see that with the Blood Talons that he's equipped with, he's going to get strength of ×2. Alright, so he has a strength 6, so that means he's strength 12. Very strong. Armor penetration of 3, which is also excellent. He gets 4 attacks, and each of his damage does d6. So let's see what happens if he attacks. Maybe just the first one. Their toughness is the same, so it doesn't matter. Let's say he charges in, and he attacks. Now, if you notice, he has the special rule. You can add 1 to this unit's attack characteristic in the fight phase if it charged. On the charge phase, in addition, roll a d6 each time you lose. Okay, so essentially, he has a Black Rage, just like all the Death Company have this, by the way, like all of them. So what it means is, since he charged, he'll be rolling 5 dice. All right. Now, each of these dice are hitting at strength. Pretty much they're we're rolling to hit, right? Okay. So it is a weapon skill of 3 or higher. So let's go ahead and roll them. So that's how many hits we got. Now to wound, we're looking for 2s. We're looking for 2s because it's double. His strength is going to be double the toughness, or double or greater than. Pretty much, since his strength 12, hitting a toughness 4 unit, that's essentially going to be 2s to hit, to wound. Now we're looking at wounds. So 3 wounds, we did get a 1, very sad. So now we do saves for them. They are saving at, actually, wait a minute. So if you're at a 3+, they're saving on 6s. They're saving on 6s. And no saves. Now, each of these individual hits that got through, so 3 will be dying, will be done with d6 damage. So one is 1 hit. That's actually really bad. But if that was on a single, that'd be 5 wounds of damage. But there's only 3 hits, so only 3 models actually go down, which is very important to keep in mind. And then that's how the Death Company Dreadnought works when they're fighting now. So it's a little less luster than what it normally was able to do. But keep in mind, its damage is d6, so this guy would be great at taking on like giant monsters and things that have a lot of wounds. Because, this could have been, yeah, something like that. This could have been, that many wounds, which would have instantly killed vehicles. Like, it is possible to do a lot of damage. I rolled really bad, but for the amount of hits, that's about what it's going to do to mobs. It's kind of less for mobs now, but keep in mind, that's just its Blood Talons. It also can be equipped with a Heavy Flamer and a Storm Bolter, if you can see that. I need to paint it gray, I think. I need to paint it gray. I don't know. Not quite sure yet. But okay, so let's do the Heavy Flamer. So remember, as always, we're going to be getting d6 hits. Automatically hits target. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for wounds. And remember, we're wounding on 2s. So all were wounds. It has armor penetration -1. Oh wait, no, we're not hitting on 2s. I apologize, because it's strength 5. I just made an assumption there that I shouldn't have. Let's re-roll that. It automatically hits. It's wounding on 3s. That was just shit, but that was just a bad roll. Okay, so sure, we take this. So we have 3 wounds. Now they're saving. These guys would be saving on a 4+. 2 saves. That means 1 got through, and then it does 1 damage. So another guy would in fact die. That's from the Flamer. Not very good. Again, bad rolling. But that's the dice. That's kind of how it goes. So let's take a look at the Storm Bolter he has. Rapid Fire 2. So that means since we're in rapid fire range, we're rolling 4 dice. Alright, we are going to be hitting on 3 or higher with this. Got 3 hits. then we're going to be wounding. So let's see, Stormbolter is just strength 4 against 4, so it's hitting on 4, wounding on 4s. Got 1 wound, and it has no armor penetration, so these guys are saving on a 3+. Saved. Okay. So on average, with all the weapons firing like crazy, you're going to get that many kills. Then, again, you do morale as always. So the leadership of the Death Company Marine. I'm just going to refer back real quick here. Again, leadership of 7. Leadership of 7. So let's go ahead and roll that die. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Underneath, not going to lose any additional models, and that'd be the round for this guy. Again, that was kind of average. I'd say that's pretty average. Nothing wrong with that. And this guy also has access to the smoke launchers. You know, it has the explode rule, and it can also move up to 6 inches at the end of the fight phase. So, like, say we're fighting, and then I kill everyone. For example, if I kill everyone, I can then move. I can actually run away. Like, if I killed everyone, I can then take my ruler out. For the sake of reference here, I could take my ruler out and move this guy, let's see, one all the way out to here. I could, like, you know, pull him away, you know, go from here out to about there, and just kind of run away if I need to, or, you know, re-advance, reposition. So it's fairly good. You know, it's a fairly good unit. I think it lost some of its killing potential a little bit, but keep in mind that the Death Company Dreadnought is also saving on 3+. And it has 8 wounds, so it's actually a lot harder, and has toughness 7. So this is going to be a very hard thing to crack, and I think it's going to be very useful in the game. Now, let's take a look at the Terminators, you know, because that's actually going to be the last thing here that we're going to bother taking a look at now. As we go ahead and grab these guys, we're going to move over to the Terminator stats. Oh, sorry, that's the captain, wrong guy with the sword. Wrong guy with the sword. All right. Okay. So we have 4 Stormbolters, and then the guy with the sword. So let's go through a full round with them and just see. I just want to kind of show off what these guys are capable of. So let's go ahead and flip through. We're gonna flip through the paper. So we have Terminator Assault Squad stats, which I might have access to later. But for now, we just have just a regular Terminator squad. You know, nothing special. Terminators have a movement of 5. That's fine. So let's go ahead and get on with the shooting phase. They're, of course, shooting with their Stormbolters at ballistic skill of 3 or higher. Rapid fire range, so that's 4+ per Stormbolter. So that means we're going to have 20 shots. 1, 2. Or actually, no. Sorry. This guy also has a Stormbolter. So this is going to be 25 well, hold on, 24 shots, I think. Or maybe I'm bad at math. Maybe it's just 20. 4 times 5, that's 20. Yes, okay, 20 shots hitting, again, against this unit of Dark Angels. And, well, we're going to consider this one blob for this particular one just because we have so many dice we're rolling, just in case. So, with the Stormbolter, we're of course going to grab all of these dice. Look at me one-handing this. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So we're going to be hitting on a 3 or higher. Okay, that was actually a really solid roll. We're not going to... Well, I'll re-roll cocked dice. Alright. 3 or higher. 3 or higher. Which is actually pretty darn good today. We only managed to miss 4. So that means one guy completely just shot his gun out of the wild. So we got 16 hits against this group. You know, Terminators are strong. Don't get me wrong. Terminators are very, very strong. And then, let's see. So the Stormbolter is strength 4. So they are, of course, going to be wounding against these toughness 4 guys on 4s. Let's roll for wounds, 4 or higher. Okay, a little worse, but still a fairly, still a very healthy number of wounds. Okay, and of course there's no armor penetration for a storm bolter. So that means this is just going to be some normal 3-up saves for these, for all of them. Okay, so doing some 3-up saves. So that's how many guys are dead straight off the bat. So that's going to be 4. Okay, now let's take a look at their charge. So now we're going to have them charge. We say they make it in for these purposes. And keep in mind, these guys need to be kept, we pull these models from the table, but they're still a part of this. So these guys are just, going to be regular swinging and plus a power sword. So let's do the power sword first. The way the power sword works is it's strength 4. Oh, power sword's actually going to be the same. So each of them get 2 attacks. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 attacks. There's nothing special about them. The power sword, however, so 2 of these dice, it does matter, are going to be extra strong. So let's go ahead and, let's get the power sword out of the way. I changed my mind. We're going to do that. So this is the power sword swinging. All right, and it's armor penetration -3, damage of 1. Weapon skill of 3. Both of them hit, because we got a 4 and a 5 and a 4. So then to wound, we're going to be wounding on, let's see, so we're wounding on 4s. Very good. 2 wounds. Okay. Now we're going to have, since these guys have saves of 3 or higher, they are saving on 6s. This is 6-up save. So they both fail. So that means 2 guys are in fact dead, because they only do 1 damage. So again, keep that in mind. Now for the regular attacks. These are regular attacks hitting strength 4. So the weapon skill is 3 or up, so you're hitting on 3s. Because there's no modifiers to hit these guys. So, that was 5, alright. That's how many hits you got with all the regular guys, just, using their fists to punch some fools. And then you got the wounds again, wounding on 4s. Because you're hitting toughness 4, okay. Got 3. And then now we're, since of course these guys have no, there's not a weapon, there's no armor penetration. You just assume there's no armor penetration. So, you're going to be wounding... Oh, I'm sorry. I have to apologize real quick. We're going to get through this, but the sergeant actually had an extra attack, so we're going to roll 1 more power sword swing. Messed up a little bit on that. I don't really use Terminators in my games, just because I normally don't have the points allocation, but I recently found a way, because of things getting cheaper, to add it in. In any case, let's go ahead and finish these off. These are going to be the saves. These are going to be 3-up saves. All of them make it. Okay, so let's do the power sword swing. I have an extra power sword swing. So again, we're going to hit on a 3 or higher. Roll a 6, okay. And then this is, of course, going to be a strength 4. So make that with a 4-up to get through with the sword swinging still. And then, of course, it's going to be a 6-up save. No save, so another one will, in fact, go down. So again, let's take a look at this. Now, I want to point out this unit, this Dark Angels, the Death Company unit, has now going to roll their die. So they got a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, beating a leadership of, let me just I'm turning through the pages real quick, just to see. So the Death Company Marine has leadership of 7. So 5 die, so that means you'd have 5. So the whole squad would be wiped out. And that would actually be what happened. So in a way, even though the Terminators, as in separate phases, may be hurting them less than, maybe you'd want this guy to do it, Terminators still kick ass. Now let's say they clear through this and they want to engage these guys, but they can't. Well, let's go on to these guys' shooting phase. So again, let's go ahead and pull up our Tactical Marine, kind of teaching you the game as we go through, as I'm seeing it. And yes, I do know we have one more vehicle to do, but I wanted to save that for the end, just so I can talk about because I have some special thoughts about that. So let's go ahead and move on to, where are they? Tactical Squad. I just want to make sure I'm doing this right, following all of the stats. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So they are within rapid fire range, so of course they're going to be... hold on, I'm just going to move these Death Company out of the way, because I want space for dice rolling, so we don't need the Death Company anymore. We won't really need them for the rest of this video. Hope this isn't too tedious for you, but I want to go through uncut of just Space Marines. Okay, so again, they're going to be rolling for the in this squad. They happen to have a Melt-A-Gun, so let's do that Melt-A-Gun first. Rapid fire 1, so they have 2 dice, and it's a strength 4. Keep in mind, Terminators have T4. They're like Space Marines in a way. They're like Space Marines, but they have 2-up saves, so it's very hard. And there's no armor penetration. The Melt-A-Gun. Wait, really? No, that's not right. I'm sorry. So the Terminators, right? Terminators have T4 and 2 wounds. That's very important. But I'm gonna find the I need to find the Melt-A-Gun real quick. Melt-A-Gun. Oh, armor penetration -4. Melt-A-Gun is actually probably going to be very good at killing Terminators. So this actually might be a very good one. And let me see abilities. If the target is within half of the range, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage. Oh, interesting. So the Melt-A-Gun has been changed a little bit to reflect the old edition. So it's going to be a strength 8. So we're firing 2 hit. Okay, I got it. So I'll figure it out. So we're going to roll to hit these guys, hitting on 4s or higher. 1 hit. Now, we roll to wound. Actually, wait. Yeah, we still roll to wound. I was going to say, I think it's a weapons, ballistic skill 3, but it doesn't really, yeah, ballistic skill 3, but again, it doesn't matter too much because we still roll a 1. So let's go ahead and roll to see if we wound. Wounding on 4 or higher, got that wound. Now for damage, it's 1d6, but if we're within half the range, half of its shooting range, which the shooting range of a Melt-A-Gun is 12, so range of 6 or higher, we follow this rule. If the target is within half of the range of this weapon, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage and discard the lowest. So this is going to be how much damage we deal. Take away the lowest, 2 wounds. Now, before we do that, because I skipped it, I just wanted to show that. Now we're going to roll and see if the Terminator can save it on a 2+. 4. He saves it. But keep in mind, if that had got through, a whole Terminator would have been dead, and that's a lot of damage you lose out on. That's like a really bad. It sucks. It just sucks. Okay. So now let's go ahead and move on to the regular bolters. So how many bolters do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bolters. Now the bolt gun and the bolt pistol are actually the same. So we're going to include an extra 2 more for this guy. So that's going to be 9 times 2, so 18. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, all of these dice, I'm going to roll them in groups, so that way my one hand can hold them all. So again, we're going to be hitting on 3s, because these guys aren't harder to hit or anything. So let's roll this, and let's roll that. Okay. And now take away 2s and 1s from this roll. This is actually a really good roll, because all of those hit. I do know that as we're going through, maybe you can't see all the pips on the dies. I'm doing my best to show it, but if you're not seeing it, I am sorry. So now to wound, we're wounding on 4s or higher. To the strength 4, these Terminators have toughness of 4. Because these guys are just like Space Marines that are just really good at not dying. That's what they're supposed to be. But let's put it to the test of a regular tactical squad. So let's go ahead and roll to wound on 4 or higher. Okay, that's half of the bolters. And there's some more bolters. Okay, now we have to have 4s now, not 3s. So any 3s we roll are not usable in this particular scenario. Wow, maybe I'm rolling really good today. This is the amount of wounds we have. So now, this is the amount of wounds that are inflicted, each doing 1 damage. Keep in mind, there's 10 health to get through. Terminators get a 2-up save for their armor, because there's no armor penetration, and there's no reason for them to use their invulnerable save. So, let's go ahead and see. Are there any ones rolled? Okay, keep in mind, this is an insanely good roll, by the way, but Terminators did get 1 through. So, cool thing, now instead of a Terminator being dead, it just, takes a wound. I like putting them on the bigger bases if possible. So that guy has a wound. So this entire squad has done a damage. Now, if you're wondering why the Death Company didn't swing back, that's because I messed up and I did that wrong. I was just trying to show how it works, how much damage they could inflict at the maximum potential. I'm actually gonna go ahead and, because I just remembered it. I did not show the Death Company fighting back, so for the sake of that, if I remember correctly, there were only four guys went down, if I remember, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. So let's just assume that this amount of Death Company were swinging back with their chainswords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because that does matter. Now, I'm not going to redo the shooting for this, but I do want to see if any Terminators would go down to the Death Company Marine, and if so, then that'll change it, because I do want to give a very realistic I do want to demonstrate the Terminators in the most effective way possible, and I forgot to have them swing back. So they get 2 attacks each, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah, 12, 4, 4, and 4, okay. So again, a chainsword is the strength of the user, so it's 4. So let's see. Weapon skill of 3. Needing 3s or higher. These are not part of that roll. But again, remember, Terminators are still they're good. I'm not trying to say they're bad or anything. I just don't want to overdo people's assumptions about these Terminators. The fact that they wiped out a whole squad and then weathered an entire, thing of firing without, a scratch. I mean, they got a scratch, but, okay. Now, wounding on 4s. Okay, these wounds did not go through. And keep in mind, even though they're not this is if they had attacked. We're keeping the fact that they all still died. I just want to see if, So, 2 up armor saves for all these guys. Oh, okay, so cool. That's actually really cool. So we got 2 wounds that got through for their saves. So how does it work? Well, this Terminator has to get a wound allocated to him first, so he'll die. And then another wound will be placed upon this guy. Goriel. Sure, why not? So we'll put a wound on him, and this Terminator actually will die. So this is actually kind of what would have happened. There'd be 4 left after weathering the storm of bullets. Now, let's move on to the Terminator shooting at them. Because I want to show off, them shooting through. So we did lose a whole Terminator. So that means that's 4 less attacks we don't get. This time we only get 16 dice of Storm Bolter. So let's go ahead and grab those Storm Bolters. So again, as we move through, it's faster to cycle through this way. We're going to go ahead and grab these Terminators. Okay. Storm Bolter, rapid fire 2, so 4 for each, because we're in rapid fire range. And keep in mind, if they were at longer distances, everyone would be rolling less dice, so that's why I'm not worried about it. The fact that I'm using rapid fire stats on purpose. Because this is ideal, because Terminators can drop in, like the Death Company, it makes it very, it's very realistic to assume these guys will be getting into rapid fire range with not really much trouble. Because these guys are still really good at saving. They're very viable. Like there's some armies like, Dark Angels that use there's some Dark Angel armies that use a group called Death Wing, which use Terminator armor. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and roll for these guys. So wounding on 3 or higher. Now that was not as good. It's actually really, really bad because it's less than average for the amount of hits they got. But that's not end of the world. Oh, sorry. Now we're gonna wound on 4 up. Remember, this is just shooting. This isn't melee, so that's the amount of wounds we got. Saving on 3 or up for Space Marines, just because they're Space Marines. Oh, two guys go down. We actually just lose 2 guys right off the bat. So remember, we're laying guys down because we need to keep track of morale. Oh, right, and these guys have a morale test. I'm sorry. I'm making all kinds of mistakes because I'm just so excited. So, what's their leadership? Leadership of 9. So they have a leadership of 9, only lost 1 guy. It's actually impossible for them to lose morale, so you know what, it doesn't matter. It's very hard to, like, morale kill Terminators. Plus, remember, with all Space Marines, they can re-roll failed, tests for morale. The reason why I'm not doing that for these guys is because, again, just to show you the potential that it can do. Because we could easily say the Death Company would have, failed their morale no matter what you rolled. You could have rolled a 1 and they still would have failed morale because of how many losses they had. I will have these guys re-roll, though, for the sake of continuity. Okay. So, now that's their shooting. Now we assault. They get into the assault. I am, of course, yes, I'm excluding Overwatch. There's a lot of things. I haven't played Warhammer in a while. But, again, 8th edition came out. I'm trying to go over everything. So, usually Overwatches fail anyway. So, I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to ignore it. If you would like me to go back over and do it with Overwatches, we can. But I just, again, because I want to make these guys seem exciting. I'm fudging it a little. Just a little. All right, so each of these guys get attacks. So, let's go ahead and just do the captain first. So he has 3 attacks. Again, hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s because of no, I'm sorry. Just wounding on 4s. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound and getting a 6-up save for these guys. Because of the Power Sword's armor penetration. The 6-up save does not get it. Another guy goes down. Okay. Now the rest of these guys, they just get their regular 2 attacks. So 2, 4, 6. Yes, 6. Their regular attacks, swinging. Okay. Now they get, let's see, what do they need? They need 4s to hit. So, getting 4s. Now, wounding on 3s. Is there a 3? Yes, I'm sorry. There was a 3. They're wounding on 3. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. They need to make 3-up saves. Both succeed. Okay, now these guys will hit back. They're going to hit back with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty sure their melee is just 7. Swings. Space Marine Sergeant gets an extra 1, so 8. 8 attacks. Weapon skill of 3. Hitting all but 1. Wounding on 4s. That is incredibly good. I might kill my Terminators right now. And 2-up saves for the Terminators. Terminators get a 2-up save because there's not enough armor penetration to justify using their invulnerable save. Again, 1 hit. It has to allocate to there, so another Terminator would die. So then we go to morale phase for both. Again, leadership 9 of the Sergeant minus the 2 losses is impossible to fail morale, so Terminators can ignore that. These guys, however, still have their Sergeant, so leadership 8. So let's roll. 1, 4, didn't lose anything. This is the results of this combat. Ongoing combat. Now, I don't know if Stormbolters count, but if they had pistols, I know for sure you get to fire them before you continue in the assault. It's really cool. So, that's a realistic look at the Terminators. Still, though, keep in mind, they were able to wipe out an entire Death Company squad, which are designed for melee combat. And they got through a fair amount of Marines, and if they really wanted to, like, the Marines will probably fall back, right? So they get that extra shots. Realistically, they probably would, just because Terminators, again, they do so much damage. And they get to possibly fire their weapons anyway, so there's no reason to maintain that combat. So that way you can pull out and have other things shoot at it. Because you need to put a lot of firepower into Terminators. Terminators are not easy to kill. Okay, and that is gonna so the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of my units, because I think I've covered like everything at the most part, and that was the goal because of 8th edition being out. I really wanted to show off everything. The last two things that I haven't talked about yet are the rhinos and the drop pods. So in my current army build I have, I'm not actually using the drop pod because I found it to be a little unnecessary. But I still want to use it. All right, it's not like it's a bad unit, right? It's not horrible. The rhinos, of course, very useful. They transport our troops forward, to help us out. And they got storm bolters on top. And this thing also has a storm bolter, but they've changed. So now vehicles, right? So we know they have wounds. We know that they're different to hit. I'm going to use the rhino right now to show off how to hurt these vehicles. So let's say you have your Space Marines. We'll even say it's the Meltagun squad, right? So, we'll line everyone up. We'll assume that it's these guys' turn to like shoot at this rhino, right? So let's go ahead and try that out. So the rhino, if we look over at the rhino stats that I've wonderfully printed out of all of them. So they have remaining wounds like everything else. So what's their toughness? The toughness is 7. All right, now Marines bolt guns have a strength of 4. So they're hitting on 5s. Or sorry, no. Let me rephrase that. Okay. Let's start with the bolters. Bolters are hitting on 3 or higher. So let's go ahead and grab them. We're in rapid fire range for this purpose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because the bolt pistol operates the same way as the bolt gun. The only difference is bolt pistols can be fired in close combat, like while engaged in close combat, and bolt guns cannot. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So shooting at vehicles. All of these guys hit the vehicle on a 3 or up. All right, because there's no modification to these guys hitting when it comes to shooting at the vehicle. So let's go ahead and move that guy a little bit. Let's go ahead and roll this. Roll all these dice. Okay, looking for 3s or higher. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of our 1s and our 2s, as we've been doing with everything else, of course. Okay, so now the rhino has a toughness of 7. So because the bolters are strength 4, we're actually going to be wounding on 5. So it's a transport, that makes sense. It's supposed to be pretty tough. The rhino actually has 10 wounds. Also very good. So let's roll the dice again. Remember, only 5s or higher can actually wound this vehicle. Now we actually did pretty good. We got 5 wounds. So how does this work? Well, the vehicles actually have a save. They save on I'm sorry, it's hidden. They save on okay, so you can't see it, but it's a 3 or higher. Vehicles just save on a 3 or higher. Remember, bolt guns have no armor penetration, so 3 up for save. So that means there's 2 wounds were inflicted, so that means the vehicle has a total of 8 wounds remaining. That's how many wounds are left on this vehicle. So pretty much we didn't get through. Now let's use that Meltagun, right? So this is also going to be a great way to show off actually the power of a Meltagun in a squad. So let's go ahead and flip to the very back of this. Once again, Meltagun. So 2. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's not rapid fire, so you just roll 1 die. Roll 1 die, and you see if you hit it. We're hitting on a 3 or higher. We got it. Okay. Wounding. So, it's a strength 8 against a toughness. So the rhino's toughness being 7, it's actually higher, so it's wounding on 3s. Okay, that was really bad. But I'm going to fudge it. I'm going to fudge it a little. Let's say we get through. We wound. Okay? Now let's say that so it gets its save, right? It gets its 3 up armor save, but it's armor penetration -4. What does that mean? It doesn't actually get a save. That's the cool thing. So the Rhino can roll 3 or higher. So armor penetration of 3 or less, it will at the very least get a 6 up save. Armor penetration -4, no save is actually given to this. So we roll a d6 to see how much damage we do, and because of the Melt-A-Gun special rule, we're going to roll 2 dice and then pick the highest. Oh, I'll re-roll that if you want, but 6. So then it's 6, so boom. Now there's only 3 left. And what happens when the Rhino gets damaged? Here's a cool thing. The way vehicles work now, as they get damaged, which I think is actually a really great idea, because it makes a little more sense. You know, as you're getting hurt, you're going to be taking damage, and it's going to be changing your effectiveness. So now, this Rhino, it moves with only 3 damage left. It moves at a value of 6 inches. Its ballistic skill is 4 or higher, which is ballistic skills you're shooting, to hit for shooting. And its attacks are now D3. So, what does that mean? Well, there's this cool thing where a Rhino can actually assault. That's right, Rhinos can assault now. That's a really cool thing. Rhinos are considered assault vehicles. So how does it work? Well, let's say they're gonna attack. They're attacking now. So, how many how do you know how many attacks it has? Well, we roll to see. Now, if normally it's 3. And we're going to do 3 for this purpose, but because of the damage, it would be 2, or 1. Because D3, which means a 3 or a 5 rolled, it counts as a 3. 4 or a 3 is a 2, and 2 and a 1 is just a 1. So, but let's just say we're using all 3 attacks, again, just for demonstration purposes. So we have 3 attacks, and we're hitting on, we're actually just kind of hitting. I'm actually not too sure, since we're in close combat, because there's no weapon skill. There's no weapon skill for these vehicles, but they do assault. We're going to use the ballistic skill. That might be wrong, but I'm going to use the ballistic skill. Feel free to correct me on this and explain this to me better, but I'm just going based off of what I've figured out. So we're going to go ahead and roll 3 or higher to hit the Space Marines. All hits. Okay. Now we're going to wound. It's strength 6, so that means it's actually going to be 3 or up to wound these guys. 3 wounds. Okay. Now these guys will get their 3 up save, because you know we're just ramming them. So 3 up save. Oh wow, 2 actually went down. So cool. This guy assaulted. Amazing. It attacked. It also can carry a rapid firing storm bolter. Normally it's twin linked, but because of rapid fire, the new way it works, we're just straight up going to be rolling for this. So hitting on 3 or higher, so that many hits. This is strength 4, so against toughness 4, we need 4s, and we failed. We missed. Okay, and it only does 1 damage, so etc. etc. Now again. One other option you can put on your Rhino is actually the Hunter Killer Missile. So let's just try it out for the sake of it. Because how does it work? Well, it's essentially like a Melt-A-Gun, but it's got armor penetration and strength 8. It's very strong. Okay. So, it's a heavy one. We have 3 attacks. I don't know if that... See, that's the cool thing. I don't know if our 3 attacks apply to this weapon. I'm going to assume not. So let's just roll and see if we get it. So on a 3 or up. So we got the hit, and then we wound on 2s because our strength is double the Marines. 5, okay. So that'll definitely hit, wound them. And then these guys make a save on a 5 or higher. Failed. And then it does D6, so that's 1. It could have been 6, but it only kills 1 model. So I don't know. I don't find Hunter Killer Missile to be that important. It's just kind of, I guess, an extra support attachment you can add on to make them, you know, a little bit beefier. But of course, they still can unload as needed. But here's a cool thing: you can assault out of said vehicles. If we fudge it again and we pretend that there were 10 Death Company in here without jump packs, I want to make that very clear. We're assuming there's no jump packs on these guys. If there were jump packs, you can't transport. And I'm not planning to use my Death Company to be transported. But I don't have any characters that I'm going to use this rule with. So for the sake of this, let's just assume these Death Company don't have jump packs. So that means that you can move up your full movement, then get out and assault, essentially. I'm not going to go through the whole combat again. You've seen what the Death Company do and the way they fight. But you can do this with any, close combat unit. Veteran guard, the veterans, Stern guard, any kind of unit like that. So the Rhino is a little bit, it's a little bit beefier. Plus, this guy has 10 wounds now. Right, the Rhino has 10 wounds. So that means it's going to be a lot harder to take it out, which makes transports viable again, which I think is very useful. But that's not all. We also have the drop pod. We need to go over how that works. Okay, so now we're on to the drop pod. Oh, and before I move on, I do want to point out that when you unload your guys, you must maintain at least 1 inch away when you get out. Otherwise, that's just not okay. If you're not planning to assault. If you're planning to assault, don't worry about it. But just as a reminder, you cannot be base-to-base contact with your models. So the way this guy works is, say we take out our fancy ruler. We're interested in surprising those guys. They don't expect us to be coming after them. Well, we need to be at least, I'll even zoom in on it. So there's 8, there's 9 inches. Let's go ahead and move this model forward. Okay, we need to be at least 9 inches away when we land. Cool thing though, there's no more scatter. You just plop the drop pod down, which makes it very effective. Let's even turn to the drop pod stats, right? It has no movement, of course. Ballistic skill 3, so it has weapons, right? It has weapons, and that's really cool. The Storm Bolter is like any other Storm Bolter, it's fine. But let's go ahead and check out the drop pod assault. All right, during deployment, you can set up this model along with any units embarked in it. Okay, so say we're surprising them, right? So the doors drop, of course, like they're supposed to, and our Marines, they run out. They're gun-hoing it. The models also must be 9 inches away. So what we might be doing is having our drop pods further back, so that way our Marines can line up in the front of the drop pod to make it a little more, viable, I guess, or well, not viable, but a little more organized, so that way we can actually get all of our guys, where we need them to be, to be able to be in range and open fire on our opponent. Cool thing about this rule is that because it's only 9 inches, and in order to get, it's actually within rapid fire range, so we can actually drop troops down and just open fire on these guys, which is amazing. I think it's really good. So you must be 9 inches away from models, and also any models that straight up just can't get out are dead. They just die. There's no save. They don't roll for anything, and yeah, also you can't get on top of it. So it's pretty straightforward. But cool thing, it has 8 wounds. It's really good. There's no attacks, of course. It saves on a 3 or higher. Leadership 8, even though that's kind of dumb. But I guess you can kill this thing with morale, but you don't need morale. I don't know why leadership's on here. Of course, you have a Deathwind Launcher and Storm Bolter. Deathwind Launcher just kind of, it shoots, and then it does a lot of damage. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's fine. It's just, you don't really use your drop pod for combat. But the point of that is, this is also something where you can land it and shoot and assault. It's very good and it's effective. Not too much to be said about it, except it got expensive. That's the main thing here with the drop pod. It's now 103 points, or it's 5 battle points. But battle points, you play smaller games in general, just so you know. This is 103 points as of using the regular points system, which is a lot. It used to be 70. So that's why I'm not actually going to be taking the drop pod, probably. In my list, I'll be taking like everything except for the drop pod and the chaplain, because I found out the bonuses. The formation bonus that we used to have in 7th, that's gone now. I don't have that power. But all these guys still get the extra attack on the charge. Therefore, his original purpose kind of negated, so everyone else will still be here. And it will be fine. And also, I will point out, I'll just say it, so that way you guys can check it out. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm going to be using the battalion detachment combined with the spearhead detachment. So when you play the game, you have to use certain detachments. The battalion detachment is a primary detachment that of the 3 that you can use, which requires you to have 1 HQ and at least 3 to 6 troops. Fair enough. And then you can obviously have other slots and such. Spearhead detachment says you must have 2 to 3, leader guys and like captains or HQ choices, and you must have 3 to 6 heavies. These ball predators, which are super good, I love them. They're actually heavy support along with that. So the spearhead detachment plus the battalion detachment allows it to work with this. Since I'm using troops and I'm using heavy support. And that's kind of what works. And again, you don't have to follow that, but just in terms of match play, that is technically what my army would be considered under. And once again, I'll repeat that. It's a battalion detachment, primarily, with a spearhead detachment as well. So that's kind of the, what we're going for here. All right, guys, so that about wraps it up for 8th edition. I'm just going to kind of give my final thoughts on it. And then I'm going to call it a close here today. This is been a long video, and if you've stuck by this, for this long, I'm actually very proud of you, because I did a lot of, just playing through the game, showing off everyone, they can do. I'm not going to worry about, the HQ guys, because I generally don't put them into combat. They're there to give bonuses. I'm not too concerned about it. If you guys want to see how that works, I will make a small side video that I'll just post, not even on a Sunday. It can just be posted talking about it. Okay, so final thoughts on 8th edition. What are we thinking here? What's kind of the most important stuff to figure out? So, 8th edition, final thoughts. I'd say it's pretty good. I don't really have much experience with the editions outside of 7th. I just kind of understand 7th a little bit, and then going into 8th, but 8th seems really, really simple. It's really easy for me to kind of understand what they're going for. It's easy for me to understand the rules. It's not too complicated. And I feel like it's going to be easier for newer players to get into the game if they want to. If you're transitioning over, I would argue that you're probably going to have some relation to Age of Sigmar. If you go on the internet or watch any other YouTube videos, you'll see Age of Sigmar coming up a lot, because there's very similar rule tactics and just rules in general compared to just the regular game. Mainly because the Games Workshop is taking Age of Sigmar and pretty much just making it into like their the new Warhammer 40k rules. There's no more codexes. Alright, so everything we knew before is gone, which is good in terms of hey, you get to restart, but it's also kind of bad in the sense that all of the, essentially all of the stuff that you got to take advantage of is now gone, and you only have what they've provided. Alright, you can't, there's no messing with them, the new rule, it's hard to find tactics right now because we don't understand how people interact with each other, the different races fighting. We have battle reports going on all the time, and I plan to be making battle reports of my own, of course, looking at these new rules, new faction rules. The rules are available to order online, but overall, I would actually say that this is a pretty darn good edition, and I am very excited to start playing the game and to start seeing possibly new people playing. I'll try and indoctrinate as many people as I can to get them to play the game, because it's freaking fun. Am I going to buy new models? There's a new Primaris Marines, and I was going to try not to talk about them, but it seems like something I need to talk about, just, because you just need to talk about it. It's essentially a new chapter that's being brought out, but I've looked at their stats. I'm not going to go out and buy them. There's no reason, in my opinion, to go out and buy them. If you're new, check them out. They might be for you. They were kind of thrown in. I think Games Workshop felt like there needed to be more factions. There's a ton. You don't need more. There's even sub-factions within, like the Blood Angels are a main faction, but then we have sub-factions within the Blood Angels army. There's a lot of stuff you can do with just the Blood and maintain a Blood Angels lore. So little bit controversial there, but I would say in general, I'm actually very impressed with Just kind of like the new feel of the game. It's very fast. It's a lot simpler. And that's going to be the biggest strength of this, the game, is just the fact that you can get in there, you can play. There's not as much, it's very easy combat system. That's why I did all the combat for everything. Because I wanted to show off how simple the combat was. And even for me, it was very complicated. I didn't know what I was doing, and I did not understand the way that combat even worked in 7th. I just had to trust my friends to figure it out, help me out with that. But now I can actually, on my own, I can figure it out, and it's a lot simpler. I can just be like, oh, well, what's their ballistic skill? Oh, that's how they're shooting. No special rule that, to modify my shooting ability. Okay. How strong is my unit? How strong is your unit? And then we know exactly how the shots are being distributed. And this is how good my guy is at, taking the brunt of the damage, And it's all laid out. It's very simple. I love it. I will say I would love to get some formations back, like official formations, like when guys work together to get a bonus or something. Remember, the battalion detachment and the spearhead detachment get you command points. Now, I didn't talk about command points because they're not needed in the game, but they're useful. Essentially, depending on what you bring to the table, you get a certain amount of rerolls. Command points can do command dice points. I guess they're command points. They can do several things for you, but the main thing that people use them for is to reroll. And you can reroll any die. That's the rule. It's in part of the game. It's a completely fair game to be using command points. It's just that it kind of, if you wanted to play an unbound list, you don't really get as many command points. My list is bound as to the best of my ability, and it could, now that with the new codex, my list is very well bound within the plane. There's nothing I can't. They're not going to be like, oh, you can't use something because I can. I'm within the rules. It's all okay. It's completely fine. Anything else? I'm just trying to think. Obviously, so no scatter die, no templates. You can. Oh, there's a new flee mechanic. It's really simple. I'll just even show it with just 2 dudes, right? Say for whatever reason. Okay, so realistically, say you get into a fight, he can only deal 1 hit, alright? He kills a Space Marine. After combat phase, after they both hit each other, he can choose to run away. What you do is you just grab your ruler, move 6 inches away from your guy. This guy is now done. He cannot do anything for the rest of this turn. And on his next turn. Pretty much he's just resolved. He's excluded from play for a little while. He can be hit and all that, but he can't do anything. But it allows this guy to be open to be shot at, because remember, when you're in an assault, you cannot shoot into said assault. You can add people to the assault by charging more dudes and have a big mosh pit if you wanted, like this. This could be a big mosh pit assault, but that's not really practical. But so there is a new flee mechanic. All you do is you say, hey, I'm gonna flee, and you flee, and that's it. Some characters have a thing about catching or grappling units that are fleeing. My army isn't really about that. Even though we are assault based, the Death Company don't have any rules about fleeing, so we're gonna assume that they aren't gonna do anything weird or funky like that. And again, kind of main things I've noticed, you want to have swarms of dudes. That's why I really like this army, because I'm actually really satisfied with the fact that I have a lot of bodies on the table. Because now with the new rules about jump packs being able to deep strike in, Terminators deep strike in, pretty much the only thing I'm going to have on the table in the beginning is going to be my vehicles, and perhaps, my vehicle. Just my vehicles are going to be the only things on the table, and my captain. So half my army is deep striking in, and that's really strong because you don't have to, if you don't have first turn, you don't lose anything. There's not a loss, which is really good. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this 8th edition video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really do. This is a really fun game. And obviously, battle reports are going to come out. Summer just started. Everything's going to be great. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. As always, guys, I'm Elwirfy, and I'll see you guys next time.